I'm running away from the past I left behind. I'm looking for answers, but I'm blinded by the light. I'm lost in the music and I stay here for the night. I promise I'll be gone in the morning, out of sight and out of mind. No blind, out of sight and out of mind. No
What's up, dudes? What's up, everybody? Such a random time of day to do a live stream, but I thought, you know, I was just tidying up my shed, and what's going on here? Yeah, I was tidying up my shed, and it got to the point where I was like, well, it's looking okay now. It's like, switch it over to here. It's looking okay. I can see the floor again, which is good. It's always good to put away stuff that's just been hanging around for ages. Went up to the attic for the first time in a long time. I've got a bit more time on my hands as of late, purely because of the work situation at the moment, as some of you may or may not know. So I'm trying to use it wisely. And hello to Max. Max, come on the Discord, man. It's late. Feel free to jump in. Anyone wants to come and chat, feel free to come into the Discord. We'll have a little chat. Out of nowhere says FPL Maestro. How's it going, man? Announcement incoming? ? No. I mean, other than the fact that I've got a plan. I've got a plan to take over Stevo. I've also got another camera angle. Who wants to see the other camera angle? Do you want a quick look? Look at that. Look at that for a camera angle. No wiser use of the time than streaming on Elite FPL. New Qatar bid has come in today. Has it really? Wow, I've literally just been I got one of these, like, I don't know if you can see, but down here I've got one of these chest of drawers now. So I've managed to get all of my stuff in these, like, they're the plastic drawers you get from, like, Home Depot or the Range. Well, actually, I went to the Range and I got them. They're really good. But yeah, this camera is going to be, when I watch the football, because normally when I watch the football, I'm like that. I'm watching the football, like, so instead of it being like that, when I'm like looking off the camera, you guys can have a better view. You like the camera angle? Yeah. So that's right in the corner of the shed. This is the shed. This is like 2 years of accumulation. Got the Elite FPL winner certificate up there on the wall. You can see. I've got this cool little light thing up here. Got a couple of lights up here. Yeah, I just thought I'd. So all the cables, so you can see some cables still, but a load of cables been tidied up. Loads of them. Let's see if we got Max in the Discord. Not yet. Max has said he's going to come on and talk to us. That'd be good. We'll quickly have a look to see if Qatar's... Okay. Looking for news about that. Well, I haven't seen anything. I've not seen anything to suggest that there's been another bid from Qatar. Where have you got that information from? I've not seen anything about it. Last I heard is that they were thinking about it. It's on Twitter. You take anything on Twitter with a pinch of salt. You really have. I mean, there's nothing saying that they're going to bid 6 million. 6 million is a lot. Absolutely no way. Hey man. I mean, just give me 1 second. Let me unmute you on the stream so people can hear you. 1 sec. How's it going, dude?
You hear me now, yeah?
Are you fine?
Awesome. Yeah, I'm good. How are you?
I'm good, Max. A really random time, right, to do a stream.
Oh, my favourite time, to be honest.
What are you doing? It's on Sky Sports News. Hang on. Apparently, do you know about this?
I've not heard about it, no.
Apparently, Qatar have made another bid.
Right. For Man United, I'm assuming.
Oh, wow. It must have just... Oh, my God. It came in literally on the... Like an hour ago. It's not on... I couldn't find it on Google. Sheikh Jassim increases bid to buy Man United from Glazer family. Right, Qatar's Sheikh Jassim and Sir Jim Ratcliffe's Ineos previously submitted their third and final bids to buy Man United on April 28th. Sheikh Jassim's, well, I'll call him Al Thani because it's probably easier, renewed offer would clear almost 1 billion worth of debt at Man United and distribute ring-fence funds for the club and community. Al Thani has submitted an increased bid, fourth bid to buy Man United. His new offer, believed to be close to 5 billion, but shy of the family's 6 billion valuation. 6 billion's a lot of money. That's ridiculous. 5 billion was submitted to the Rain Group. Wait, I thought he bid 5 billion anyway. All right, okay. So he's upped his bid to 5 billion. I thought his bid was at 5 billion. So yeah, I don't really know what much of a difference that's going to be, to be honest. I just want this thing to be over with because it's quite embarrassing, to be honest, at this moment in time. I just think that this is dragged out, and it's going to drag out so long that it's going to just ruin our summer transfer plans. That's all. Anyway, Max, what's your thoughts of it? I mean, as a non-Man United fan, when you hear about this bidding war that's obviously gone between, obviously Ratcliffe and Al Thani, you know, with one being a shared ownership of Man United with the Glazers kind of staying on in the background, and a complete buyout or clearing all debt, clearing, you know, investment promised into the infrastructure of the club and the community. I mean, to you and me, it's a no-brainer, right? But for greedy leeches of a club, you know, maybe the 29% share or whatever the Glazers could have, maybe more up their alley, because they're still going to get hundreds of millions, aren't they?
Yeah, well, from a fan perspective, you want all debt cleared and your club to be in the clear. And able to just also have a clean slate, right?
Yeah, I'm trying not to think too much about it, because I know it sounds silly, but it just annoys me that it's gone on for so long. You know, and yes, I'm talking about Man United because it's been brought up in the chat. I'm not just going straight into a Man United moaning about Man United. It's embarrassing though, isn't it? Really, how long it's gone on for? It's been what, 8 months now?
I mean, I think the problem is that, like, if they're arguing over something silly like 1%, the problem with 1% in a deal like this is hundreds of millions of pounds. So it's not as if you can just just take 30% instead of like 32. It's kind of a big difference in terms of that aspect. But I think the Glazers want to basically just sort of offload the club. They don't want all the stress of it anymore, but they also want to keep shareholdings just so they can keep bringing in money. Because Man United's still the biggest force in the world for generating revenue. So I can understand why they would want to do that, but from a fan's perspective, even a neutral fan, I would like to see Man United competing again. And it kind of sucks because football is all based around money now, but at the same time, I would like to see Man United being back and forth.
There's a big gulf, isn't there, between the likes of Man City and the pack behind them. Would you say that Arsenal, you know, are the closest that we have in the Premier League to dethroning Man City at the moment?
No, I think Arsenal have had an incredibly good season, and I think they've overperformed. But I think the fact that the likes of Chelsea, Liverpool have drastically underperformed is why it looks better for Arsenal. So, yeah, and I feel like Arsenal this season, and whether people agree that they've bottled it or not, in my opinion, they've bottled it. I don't think they'll get a better chance than what they've had this year. They've had no European competitions, no FA Cups, no League Cups to deal with. All they had to deal with was the league. And if you look at the past 7 games and the points they've dropped, it was all in their hands. Yeah,
they folded, really, haven't they, under pressure? I mean, it is pressure. I mean, it's a situation that they've not, as a team, as a group, they've not been under that level of expectation, scrutiny, pressure. Premier League is the hardest league in the world to win. Manchester City, they're just a machine, aren't they? When they get going, you know, they seem to have an unbelievable squad depth that even if, you know, players get injured, they can just shrug it off and, you know, can bring in the likes of Bernardo Silva, Foden, Grealish, you know, Alvarez, you know, Mahrez. I mean, they've just got so much. They've got even Lewis. Is that Lewis guy? You know, they seem to just pull them out. And there's no squad in the Premier League that comes close. And I think Newcastle, with their money now, obviously we've seen Chelsea splash out lots of money on. This is an interesting question. Moving away from Man United, moving away from Man City now. Honest question, and I'm going to ask the chat as well. If we just look at the Premier League table, let's just switch my screen over one sec. Let's bring up the Premier League table, and I just want to talk to you about Chelsea, because I don't really see that many Chelsea fans in our streams, or they don't make themselves known. I know we've got some Chelsea fans in the Discord. I know that Don and others are in there. And what must be going through the Chelsea fans' minds, because they've seen their club splash so much money out on their team. They got some marquee signings through the door. Obviously, they had the Graham Potter debacle. There's a bit of a meme going on with Lampard, but surely next season, with a bit of time, they're going to be fighting for Europe, right? You'd like to think they're right this season off, but
yeah,
they've got the quality there. Surely, the team just needs to gel, right? It's too many players at the same time.
Yeah, well, I think it must be difficult as a Chelsea fan because they had so much success under Abramovich, and obviously in the Jose Mourinho era where they were just dominating. I think it all stems from when they sacked Tuchel, to be honest. Like, I think he was unfairly dismissed. I think there was a panic to get rid of him.
I like Tuchel.
And obviously, I think I always get confused between the two. It was Di Matteo and Martinez that won the Champions League for them, I believe. He was caretaker manager at the time.
Di Matteo, yeah.
Di Matteo, that's the one, yeah. But then, for me, I just think they've just gone about stuff poorly. Unfortunately, I feel like they've recruited decent players, but they're a team of individuals. Do you know, they're not playing for one another. If you watch Man City play, every single one of their players tracks back and grafts because they know if they don't, they're not going to be in the team next week. And it just doesn't seem like that for Chelsea. I think the way Chelsea are going, there is a chance that there will be a force in the next couple of years. If you said to me next year that they're going to be second, pushing Man City, I don't think I could argue with you with the team that they have. But at the same time, if you said to me they were still struggling in eighth, trying to get the bearings, then I don't think I could disagree with that either. So I think that Chelsea team will click at some point is when it does. I think they've brought in some good players. They just, like you said, I just don't think they've gelled yet.
Have they got the manager in Lampard that's going to be able to...
No. I mean, Lampard was... I think I talked to you about this maybe a couple of months back about these top players of the game getting gifted big jobs when essentially they don't really deserve it. And I think Lampard is just a stopgap at the minute. It looks like Pochettino is going to come in. And I think if Pochettino can't get the best out of this team, then I really don't know where they go from there. Because you've not really got many managers left with a...
Well, you can't keep rotating managers, can you? That's the thing. You can't keep going in and out of managers. You've got to stick to a manager eventually. And I don't think Lampard is the man that you would put all your money in behind, really. But again, Chelsea fans, if you are in the woodwork and want to make a comment on that, please do so. I just want to quickly say hello to XTYA, top of my work money league. Only 30 points clear. Really want to punt the cap of this double game week, but do you think it's better to play safe and captain the robot? Good question. If you're clear of your mini league already, no. I mean, I don't think.
I think he's overthinking it. Like, you're 30 points clear. Everyone's captaining Haaland next week. Don't shoot yourself in the foot and captain someone else and get whacked by a Haaland hat trick and then end up finishing second.
You don't need to take risks. You don't need to take risks. You're 30 points. Yes, 30 points is catchable. I know that, but you don't need to take risks when you're top of the mini league. Your cash mini league, the effective ownership on Haaland is going to be through the roof. I mean, you got to just stick with the boring pick of captaining Haaland. Unfortunately, it's just the way it is for next week.
I'd be happy. I'd be really happy with that.
Chelsea. I mean, Chelsea. I just see them. I see them getting a few goals against Chelsea.
Yeah.
XTYA is a Chelsea fan. Okay. Harbour Boys, Chelsea is so much more of a fail than Arsenal. Different kind of fail, really. Chelsea were always way too dependent on wing backs over the past year or so. XTYA says this could be our lineup next year. 2 years under Pochettino, this team would be insane. I call it growing pains. Give us a few years and we'll be back. Yeah, I mean the players that you've got on the roster now, you'd like to think that you've got every chance of competing for Champions League and bringing in a world-class manager. I mean, all the ingredients are there.
I think what's baffled me the most about this Chelsea is they spent, 600 million and not brought in a striker?
Yeah, strikers aren't easy, man. Strikers, you can't just pluck an Erling Haaland out of the hat every transfer window.
I'm not saying that, but if you're gonna go hard and spend that amount of money, you would have thought that you could bring in someone of quality. Again, I'm not a Chelsea fan, so I don't know, but if it was me, I'd be going hell for leather to try and get Harry Kane. I think that would solve a hell of a lot of problems for Chelsea. Maybe he wouldn't go to Chelsea. But
I mean, there is that, isn't there? It's a bit close to.
But if he's on his last year of his contract, if I'm thinking rightly, so
his contract's got just over 12 months left. So
so I think the main issue around the Harry Kane saga is Levy, because realistically we don't know whether he wants to just let him go, but he needs the right amount of money to let him go, or whether he's just going to be stubborn and let his contract run out. But for me, I think Harry Kane is, look at his record in the Premier League. Any team in the top 4 would like to have him. Hence why Man City tried to sign him last season. So if you can offer him 350k a week and spend 100 million on him, then I would take that gamble. Because for me, I think Man United especially, I think they're in the market for a striker as well.
Yeah, Harry Kane, I think Harry Kane is what Ten Hag's after, to be honest.
Well, I think it's going to be him or Osimhen from Napoli.
I think I'd prefer Harry Kane, to be honest. He's kind of proven in the Premier League, and Osimhen a bit younger. I know that much, but I get you know what you're getting with Harry Kane. I mean, there's been so many instances where we've brought a player into the Premier League and they've just been recent years.
Harry Kane's 29, right? So realistically, you get 5 years out of him.
Maybe 3 good years, maybe 4 good years.
Yeah. Let's say he goes to 33, 34. That's probably a reasonable age. And he wants to stay in the Prem, I'm assuming, because he wants to break the goals tally. So it's, for me, I think I would opt for Kane over Osimhen, but I think it's close. It depends, how much, as a Man United fan, how much do you think Kane is worth?
I'd rally him at 90 million.
Okay.
What about you?
Yeah, I'm kind of at the 70 million mark.
He's English, and you've got to pay a little bit more for English players in the Premier League.
Yeah, you do have to play the premium, but then there's obviously the debate of he's got a year left, so that brings it down a little bit. And I don't think I could argue with anyone who said between 60 and 100, but for me it's somewhere in between there. So yeah, it's a difficult one. It really is. But I think it has to move this year.
We've splashed out more money. We've splashed out lots of money in worse players than Harry Kane. I mean, I think Harry Kane would bring a bit of stability up front. Yeah, we know that if you give him chances, you get the ball into him. He's good with the ball at his feet. He's good with the ball in the air. He's good at dropping a bit deeper and combining with midfield players as well, which I think would be good. I think if I had to choose, I'd probably go with Harry Kane. That's I know Ten Hag likes the idea of getting him in, so it'll be interesting to see if it actually happens or whether we go Osimhen or someone else. But we do, it's obvious that we need a star striker up top. I just want to quickly just say hello to everyone in chat. We've got Dave Lister. Brighton players manage to gel instantly? Brighton's just very good manager, De Zerbi, and the work rate, the style of play is just very much high tempo, and suits the players they've got. They all seem to be fighting for each other. They play well as a team. Brighton players not necessarily player for player, better than other teams in the top half of the table. But they do all work as a team, and when you've got a team that's all working together as a group, you can do wonders, even against the top teams like Man City. Would targeting Man United players be good, as my team Bournemouth will be on the bench? We'll be on the beach, I think. And I've been the last 2 games, says Alex. We're targeting Man United players. Always a risk with Man United. You don't know what Man United's gonna show up, to be honest. And if you bring in Martial, you've got injury worries. Is he going to get injured? If you bring in Anthony, is he going to be a petulant kid that's going to shoot from every angle outside the box, or is he? Sancho? No, you're not going to want to get him in. Bruno Fernandes. You're probably your best options for Man United are going to be Bruno Fernandes, Luke Shaw. If you're going to triple up, if you want to triple up, I would probably go Luke Shaw, Lindelof, and Bruno Fernandes. But if you want to go really high risk, you could go Bruno Fernandes, Martial, and Anthony. That would be the most ridiculous risk taken ever. That would be for someone that's chasing that doesn't care if they lose points, because it's not going to affect if they finish where they finish in the table. If they after a cash mini league or something, they want to get into the cash prizes, maybe it'd be doing something like that might be wise. I don't know, because you're going to be differential, and we all know differentials what they can do. So I don't know. What about you, Max?
Put it this way: I'm chasing, and guess what? I've got Anthony. So
really? Yeah,
I think that just sums up your argument.
Yeah, I mean,
it's not a player I would ever bring in if I was in a good position. There's just nowhere.
Yeah. I mean, you don't. Exactly. I mean, once you're chasing, you can do whatever you want really at that point, because you can't keep the same team. You can't have the same team as your rivals, right? And a lot of the rivals you've got are going to go with template players, and they're going to play it relatively safe. They're going to captain Haaland. I mean, you might want to change your captaincy to Bruno Fernandes, just to be right, let's go hell for leather right now. I need to catch 30 points on my mini league rival. Well, I'm not going to do it if I captain Haaland. I'm not going to do it if I've got 9 out of 11 players the same. It's your risk factor, but also own it as well. Don't get upset if it doesn't pay off. Know the risk, take the risk, and don't complain about it when it backfires. Is what I would say. Is Rice worth 100 million? Kane should be a lot more. How are they the same price? I mean, I don't think Rice is worth 100 million personally.
I don't think Rice is worth 100 million either.
Again, it's just English tax that is ridiculous.
If he was playing in Spain, right, someone like, I don't know, Brighton would pick him up for 25 million.
Yeah.
It's ridiculous.
There's nothing overly special about Rice. I mean, he's a good player, don't get me wrong, but he's just a good English player. And with good English players, you just have big price tags associated to them, that's all. A lot of people probably can't get Fernandes, so may go Anthony instead. Yeah, it's a good point. Rob James says, I like the Avenged Sevenfold TJ. Have you heard the new stuff? Yeah, it's very different, isn't it? Very, very different. New album's gonna, yeah. Looking forward to that too. So Max, you say you're chasing. How much are you chasing? A
lot. Yeah, I feel like my season's been dead for about 10 games, to be honest.
Where are you in the overall rankings, Max?
I'm 1 million, I think. But for me, I'm chasing mini leagues at this point, and in order to get into the cash, I need to be in 3rd, and I'm 5th, and it's 70 points. So it's one of those where it just kind of feels undoable at this point.
Are you in the you're in the Rivals League?
I'm not in the Rivals League. No.
What league are you in? You in any? You in Royal Rumble League?
Royal Rumble, I'm in. Yeah.
What's your what? Do you know what position you are?
I am 27th.
Okay, 1 second. I got you. Yeah, got you. So you got 59 points. You did a -4. You had Edison in goal, which got you 8 points. Dunk. Dalla didn't play, so you got you've got White coming off the bench. Oh man! Oh no, you got Ben Mee. You got Ben Mee coming off.
No, I don't.
You do.
So I've got.
You do because you got Dalla didn't play. Rashford didn't play.
No, but I've got White and Grealish coming off. Ben Mee stays there.
No.
Yeah, that just kind of sums it up, really. The one differential I had, is staying there. So.
Oh man, dude.
Yeah, and obviously Grealish came on for like
Caesar as well.
Yeah,
he got the goal, didn't he? Of course, and
like I had the choice. So I brought in Isaac this week, and I was either going to bring in Isaac and Wilson, and I just couldn't decide. I flipped a coin. I went right. If it's heads, I'll bring in Wilson. If it's tails, bring in Isaac. Tails, brought in Isaac, captained him. Wilson scores 2. And I thought, oh, great. But yeah, there's always Brighton as well. So, but yeah, it was just when I saw Wilson score twice, I just thought, oh, great, typical. But
yeah, that sucks, man. That really sucks. That's harsh. Yeah,
it's just like I don't like. There's obviously a big luck factor to this game, but I feel like I've just been getting the 50-50s wrong a lot this season, and by the way I set up my team in game week 1, I've just been chasing it ever since. And I don't think I'll make that mistake again.
You had Semedo in.
Say again, sorry.
You had Semedo in.
I did have Semedo in, yes. But
what was your thought? Why did you have Semedo?
What, last week?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I've had Semedo in for a while.
Was he just on your bench for a week, or were you playing him?
What last week?
Well, just in general, because you
yeah. So
you had him for quite. How long have you had him? You've had him for. You had him since game week 25. You brought him in. You brought him in for Trippier, and then you brought Trippier back in for him. Like, a few people are getting a bit impatient with Trippier recently. The fixtures, are they desirable? You obviously thought so to bring him back in.
Yeah, well, over that period of time, he didn't do too bad. So when did I bring him in? So I had him. I think I had him from like game week 24. I think when I swapped him for Trippier. My funds have been really low all season because I didn't start with like Haaland and Salah, so I was playing catch up like straight away.
So yeah, he got a few points for you. You got the clean sheet against Tottenham 26. I assume you got that, but you got -1 against Leeds. You got 9 points against Chelsea. 6. Yeah, I mean he's been alright. I mean he's got some points in for you, but
yeah. So he's probably averaging like 3 or 4 points. So he's not like he's not blanking.
Differential.
He's not going mad. See, I think Wolves are decent when they're playing well defensively, should I say? Because they don't tend to concede that many. But he's for me, he's like one of the only ones that is like a nailed on when Wolves are playing. It's difficult to sort of pick between the others because it's like Totti, Kilman, the guy from West Dawson. Who else do Wolves have? Then they have Johnny. And all these other guys, but they tend to like switch Bueno as well, like in defence quite a bit. But I feel like Semedo is the most nailed on. That's why I went for him, obviously. But yeah, like if you look at my team through the weeks, like there's no real value there because, like I said, my team value is like 98. I don't think I've got above.
Yeah, but you've got away with it because it's like I don't think you need to have necessarily a lot of team value this season.
Yeah,
but I mean your team. I mean, you've had owned Anthony. You still own Anthony. He's a bit of a mixed bag, isn't he?
I've been chasing for a long time, and Anthony was kind of the one player that. The funny thing was, I took out Anthony when he had a double game week, and Arsenal played against Chelsea, and guess who I took him out for?
Go on.
Odegaard.
Oh.
And Odegaard scores 2, gets a clean sheet, 3 bonus.
It's
And
1 week too early.
Anthony scores 2 points.
You got good points in game week 34, over 100 points.
It's weird when you look at this though, because it's kind of misleading. Because it's like any time you ever get a 100-point game week, you're like, what a game week. But everyone else was like averaging like 110, like 115. So at that point, I wasn't even doing that well.
I'm looking at your points. You got 50. You're kind of getting like. You got 75 points in the game week 31, but again, I think that was probably around the average. I mean, the thing that sticks out for me is like your game week scores. You know, a lot of weeks you've been getting 50s, 55s, 56, 59s, 53s. I mean, you really 40 points in game week 35. I mean, you really need to average in over 60 points a game week over the season, right?
Yeah.
And
because like they tend to be around like average scores, maybe just like a couple of points less, couple of points more. But then when the big players go off and I don't have those players, then I'm like 30 points behind rather than being like 4 or 5 points behind. And that's just been the difference like all season.
Hey, animations. Yes, I mean, just go balls to the wall and just captain someone different. Are you going to captain someone different?
But next week, you mean?
Yeah.
It's so hard, right? Because like,
are you gonna say screw it and go for something else, or are you thinking no, I that would be detrimental, and you're gonna actually just have a few differentials in your team, like the likes of Anthony, and just go with the Haaland captain. I mean,
it's like I'll just update you on basically what's going on in my mini league. So we paired top 3. And I'm currently sat in 5th. I'm like 70 points ahead of 6th. That's not an issue. But then I'm like 80 points behind 4th, 90 points behind 3rd. So I don't think that's doable. Like with Haaland next week, I would have to literally go different captain. Like who has a double game week next week? Let me have a look. So am I going like Anthony captain or Mitoma captain, Hope Haaland blanks, like scope up 25 points? Still don't think that's enough. Like with my team for next week, it's just hoping Haaland blanks is just not the way forward. You just can't do it. I think you're just going to be in for a world of hurt if that's how you want to play this game. Which kind of sucks, but I'm thinking. So the Man City obviously play Real Madrid tomorrow. If Man City get through, I think I'm going to bring in Foden and captain Foden.
What for who?
So I'll probably swap him out for Grealish.
So that's a sideways move. So he's going to burn a transfer.
However, what I'm thinking is, what I've noticed the pattern, like I don't want to try and predict Pep, but the pattern that I've seen is that he's favouring Grealish in the Champions League games, and he's playing Foden in the league.
You've worked it out.
Well, like I say, I'm not going to say like I know what Pep's going to do. I might get completely done, and he might play a different team. But at the stage I'm in now, I feel like it's worth the gamble that I think strongly enough that Foden's going to play in the league and Grealish is going to play in the Champions League. So if Man City get through, I'm going to bring Foden in and captain Foden. That may backfire, but I strongly believe that Foden will start next week if Man City get through. If they don't get through, then it's anyone's game who starts at that point. But just an interesting one.
Yeah,
I know Steve-O likes his bets. I was looking at Sky Bet yesterday. Real Madrid are 4.5 to 1 to win tomorrow.
What? Really?
I just think that's mental.
Wow. What do they know that we don't?
17 to 4 to win the tie. Not the tie, sorry, the game before it goes to extra time, etc. I just thought that was a mad thing to see. I couldn't believe they were that price.
I don't gamble, but that's interesting.
So if anybody fancies a punt for a couple of quid, it's one of them bets I just like to call it. It's like a no-brainer bet. Like Real Madrid are that good that to get offered 4.5 to 1 against anyone is ridiculous. So,
I mean, it's
if Steve-O's listening, he might have a punt.
Steve will be fast asleep because he's got to be awake in about
he'll listen to it. He'll listen to it at some point.
He'll be listening to this at work. The first thing he'll do is he'll be like, "Oh my god, Jace did the stream. What the hell?" He won't believe it. He'll just he'll be like over the moon. He'll be happy with it. But Steve-O's laptop's currently screwed up, so we're just waiting for him to get a new battery so that he can do his member videos and stuff. I'm gonna be I was gonna do a member video tonight. I was actually gonna do a member video, but I just thought, do I do a member video or do I just do live stream and see who jumps in? Because like with the member videos, it's like there's no interaction, there's no talking, with someone. So I just figured we'll see who hops around. I mean, who's going to come on at midnight? And obviously Harbour Boy's loving it because it's daytime for him. A few Americans maybe, but most people will be asleep that probably follow us. So
no, I'm kind of a night owl anyway, so I won't go to bed until 3-4. So this is kind of the time where I'm just chilling out, watching telly or movie, etc. And then
I bet you're like, what the hell? Where's this stream
on?
What's
You've
going
done
on?
It before, right? You did it. I think you did it once before. I don't know if I was chatting to you on that one, but when I see it, I'm happy because it gives me something to do at this time of night for sure.
I watched a documentary. I've been really into my documentaries lately. My wife is going mental, because I've been watching loads of these alien documentaries about aliens and the phenomenon of extraterrestrials and UFOs, and I've been proper digging deep into it, down the rabbit hole. And there's a documentary that's called The Phenomenon by James Fox. If you get a chance, feel free to listen, to look it up and watch it, because it's really, really interesting. The US, what people don't realize is the US government have already confirmed that UFOs are a thing, and they're not part of their defense program. It's a phenomenon that it's been going on since the 40s, maybe a lot earlier than the 40s, and you've got things like nuclear silos in America and Russia and China that have been affected by these flying objects, or UAPs as they're called nowadays, hovering over them and disabling the nuclear launch systems and things like that. It's really weird, honestly. And the most interesting one on this documentary was because this documentary is like a bunch of different, obviously, case studies. One of the most interesting one was a school in Zimbabwe in 1994. 100 kids, 6-year-olds, 7-year-olds in this school in Zimbabwe witnessed this craft go over their school and land in this woods at the bottom of their play field, and they all ran down to kind of see what was going on, and they had this encounter with them, and it was they had BBC journalists going out there and psychologists going out there to interview them, and it was so weird, really eerie, that every single one of these school children that were there gave their account, and their account was literally identical, one after the other. And how on earth could they all kind of be faking it? It seems a bit far-fetched, really, that they would all make it all up, and it was really weird. But anyway, I'm really into that. I really dig those documentaries at the moment.
like I don't really want to go too deep and down the rabbit hole because I'm quite skeptical about all this sort of stuff. Like,
that's the best way to be. The best way to be is skeptical because seeing is believing. It always is, right? It's always has been.
I kind of feel like if you can see it, hear it, touch it, do you know, like any sort of senses, it's there, do you know? But like the one that always gets me, and I haven't dug deep enough into it, but it's like flat Earth theory. I don't know if you've ever.
I don't believe that. I don't believe in that. No, that's stupid.
Yeah, well, I'm not. I don't like. I just think it's interesting that people can come up with arguments for it, and it, like, it's just some of the stuff that people will try and get you to believe is just mad.
No. That's a whole new level of tinfoil hat silliness. That's a bit too much for me. But I mean, I like the fact. I mean, things that like a credible witness, like for things like UFOs and stuff. Obviously, I draw the line when it comes to like stuff which is so far off of what could. Like the realms of possibility. Like for me, like things like fighter pilots, airline pilots, Navy personnel, you know, like general police officers, firefighters, you know, people that are professionals that are doing their everyday work and they've witnessed something or they've been involved in some sort of an encounter. I take a lot of like interest in understanding the phenomena. But when it comes to like things like flat Earth and stuff, I mean, this is a bit too much for me. But you know, I don't disrespect people that believe it. I just think it's a bit too unrealistic. But you know, the what I was going back to saying with the government in the United States government have actually released footage of fighter aircraft and reconnaissance aircraft, haven't they? Engaging in these pursuits with these UFOs or whatever they call them these days, and it's just so interesting because
there's a whole debate right around like and this comes back to I guess like the moon landings and stuff. There's a whole debate between certain people that are saying that like that this is like CGI and stuff. You know, and this stuff that hasn't even happened, and it's difficult because, like I say, you get led down one path and you think, oh, that must be how it is, and then someone says this, and then you're like, oh, well, yeah, it's difficult. But if you find it interesting and you don't really like try to form an opinion, I think that's the best way to look at it.
I personally believe that we're not alone, because I think that having that attitude that we possibly are the only life in the universe is a bit crazy, really, because of the size of the universe and its infinite nature. But you know, I respect that most people out there is that if I don't see it, then I don't believe it, and you know, I think that's a good place to start.
Do you think we're the only intelligent life?
No. And I think that one of the things that we're going to come out with in the next 15 years, maybe even sooner, is that we won't be the most intelligent life on the planet in the next 15, 20 years. We'll be superseded by AI, and AI will become its own. We will be the lesser species, like, in terms of intelligence, and it will bring our intelligence forward. Of course, it's going to bring breakthroughs in technology. There'll be cases of scientists and programmers and computers, software programmers that are making software with AI alongside them. They're doing it now. I mean, you've got programmers coding with AI. You've got scientific, like, do you know the COVID vaccine was actually helped. They helped find the right spike protein by using AI to go through hundreds of thousands of sequences. They used AI for that. I mean, AI is already a tool that's being used by the scientific community and the military and other realms of sectors of the government and things like that. So imagine 5 years down the line. I mean, they're talking about next year there being a massive breakthrough in AI. There was a Google employee that last year came out and said that he that the AI systems that they're working on in Google at the moment has become self-aware and become past the Turing test. I mean, again, this is a whole new debate. There's going to be court cases in the future where, people, where computer AI may have a right to sentient recognition. It's quite crazy when you start thinking, where does this lead us? Where does it end? Where's the line that you have to cross between, the world we know today and something that's quite terrifying?
Well, I hope it just doesn't end up like Terminator.
It's
kind of sad, but like it may end up getting closer to that than people think. In a strange sort of way. But I actually think we're actually more further along than people think we are. I've heard about, like, it's all hearsay, right? But I've heard about stuff that, for example, so they bring out a new iPhone every year, right? Mm-hmm. I don't even know what iPhone we're on now, like 12 maybe.
But iPhones aren't really coming out with anything breakthrough.
No, but what I mean is that, like, I think they could probably release an iPhone 18, but they're just slowly getting rid of the technology so that they don't use it all in one go.
Well, but the curve is becoming less and less now. Like the technology, there's a curve, isn't there? There's an actual recognized technological curve when it comes to new breakthroughs in technology. You've got like the initial upward climb where you've got like the early adopters, so the early adopters of the internet back in the 80s and the early 90s, this slight climb, and then all of a sudden, like, the internet back then wasn't really used for much. I mean, it was communications, basic email, file transfers weren't really a thing because of the cost of the data costs and the constraints of the technology of the day. Whereas as soon as you started to see corporations, towards like the mid 1990s, late 1990s, form around the internet, the Amazon.coms, Google, etc. You started to see a massive spike because the money and the people were just getting, like, there was like a convergence of big corporate interest and the masses being kind of the prices of access to the internet were going lower and lower and lower, and more people were able to get online, and you just saw this growth, this exponential curve of the internet going flying high. And you'll see the same with AI. AI at the moment is sort of a slight curve upwards, but we're seeing it go more and more more vertical. I guess the scary thing is we don't know how much of that vertical slope we've got left, where everyday people like you and me will be using AI to help us in our general everyday tasks, and then when you couple the AI with by the way, this just chatting with the community, if you're joining into the stream now, you're probably wondering what's going on. When you look at AI and the development of AI, and it's going to come into your everyday life, you've got then the robots that are going to be a thing as well. You've got the workforce, manual labor markets. You've got people that are requiring assistance, with disabilities. You can have robots for them. You can have robots in the house that are going to clean and stuff. It's going to be mad. It's going to be so mad. The future is going to be crazy. It's going to be unrecognizable. I
think to come on to that point you were just speaking about there, I think that's going to be the biggest issue with AI. Is it taking over the workforce, like you said, taking people's jobs? Mm-hmm. Because ultimately, if a company can pay £2 for a robot versus £10 an hour for a human, who are they going to employ, or who are they going to have stood there packing stuff?
Well, the argument is the argument is that it will bring us further forward as a society, and we would have more time to do other things. It'll become less. I think the word that they used was it would be an age of abundance, because you'd have like like you'd have like the mining, you'd have like raw like what's the word I'm after, like materials being mined by robots. You'll have the transport system being taken over by there'll be a transport system be 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, non-stop. Basically you'll have like such an efficient system that the abundance of everyday stuff like, you know, technology, like, you know, it will just become such a I don't know how to explain it. It'd be, if people would literally be able to kind of reduce their work hours, they'll be moved into more of a
utopia.
Yeah, well, yeah, I'm thinking that it'll. I mean, it's not great for the big pharmaceutical companies and the corporate capitalists out there, of course. But certainly, if it was done correctly, then that would be the way that the world would go, because you'd have such a an abundance of time and yeah, I don't know where I'm going with it, but you just have lots, you know, you'd have lots of work being outsourced to these robots. Yeah.
It's quite scary, but it's kind of like you kind of just got to roll with it, I suppose. I think like, how old are you, Jason?
36.
Yes, I'm 30. So I think like our generation could kind of deal with it, I think. But and the upcoming generations probably could as well. But I feel like if it came
I don't think we will. I don't think we will, mate. I think that we're in the wrong generation. Yeah, 100%. We are the wrong generation. Like right now, like for me, like my daughter's obviously in the school system now. Like she's gonna grow up with all of this stuff going on in a like later in a school career. We're in a generation that's used to the days before technology. Like I'm used to. Yeah. Like not having a mobile phone, a smartphone. I'm used to not having. I grew up without a computer, like a personal computer. It was a family computer back then. It was like a computer that the family would use, and it was like, and you probably had about, I don't know, a few gigs of hard drive space or something like that, and it was like 50. It was a dial-up modem, and you know, you'd have like games that were really basic. It was nothing like this.
You don't have to explain to me. I was exactly the same. I think we got.
I only used it for music. I only downloaded music. That was it. I mean, and that took.
LimeWire by any chance?
Yeah, and it took about half an hour to download a 3 megabyte MP3. So it was like, you know, back then I still went out and played, and I still was like was very much an outdoor kid. Whereas I think kids today, it's like there's too much. Online distractions now, whether it be social media, whether it be video games. I mean, it's a different world. It really is. And I think that we're going to be left behind. I think a lot of our generation is just going to be like, we've all got a granddad or a grandma that they still have the old Nokia phone, or they still have a very basic phone, or they still have a landline phone. You know, they don't use a mobile. They still use their landline phone at home. And we'll be like that. We'll be still... you know, I know, using our normal everyday items that we have today. I mean, and there'll be kids coming out with like holograms and stuff, and yeah, there'll be all sorts of stuff, man. It's, I don't know.
I feel like we're like
a conversation right now.
I kind of agree with that, but I feel like we'll be slightly better prepared to deal with it. Like, I don't think I'll be my grandma where she can't figure out how to change the TV channel, but like I understand what you're saying in terms of like it's going to be on another level, but I feel like we've got a little bit more understanding as we've come in. I guess, like I say, I was the same as you. I got a family computer when I was about 10, got a mobile when I was like 11, something like that, and if I ever wanted to go see my friends, I'd either ring them on the landline or just go around to their house, and ultimately I won't come back till 8 o'clock. I get home from school, have my tea, go out, play football, come back at 8 o'clock, go to bed, do the same the next day. And like there was no technology involved, and we managed to get along just fine. But now it's like, you know, if the internet goes down for 10 minutes in my house, it's just hysteria. It's crazy.
Yeah, my show's in the chat. Gundogan captain since Tom Markkanen. I mean, he's been performing amazing. So I mean, going on form. Yeah, I mean, it's brave. I think I saw Black Disc going across my sky a few times in the last year, says Maestro. Have you ever played the choice between a game called Detroit Become Human? It's a fairly recent game about androids taking over and humans starting rebelling against them because they're losing jobs. I mean, Detroit Become Human. I've not no, but again, it's once this all kicks off, that'll be the point of no return. There'll be, unfortunately, a lot of people that are suddenly finding out that they've got no natural calling in life. Like, there's people that are happy to be taxi drivers. There are people that are happy to be bricklayers. Bricklayers. I mean, that's another industry, the construction industry, that's going to be affected. I mean, you're going to get already seeing 3D printed buildings, and I mean, it's crazy to think, isn't it? Like, even my industry, my industry, a lot more people than people think. Yeah, my graphic design, for example, I do a lot of graphic work, and that's going to all be AI. I mean, eventually you're just going to be able to type into you can do it now, actually. Type into a prompt what you want, and you'll get an AI that's, generates you an image or video. And well, I like getting on these points, but I think for me, the main issue with it is it's going to affect a lot of people's mental health. I think working to some extent and being busy is good for people. Yeah. Because it gives them less time to think about all the stresses and daily problems they've got in their lives. And once you give a lot more people free time, it gives them a lot more time to think. And I don't necessarily believe that is a good thing. No, I don't. I think we could maybe hit a nice sort of middle ground where you've got people that are still working, but they're not, because at the moment you've got people that are working like 60-hour jobs just to be able to pay for their rent, right? Whereas, I would like to think that people would be able to go more like sort of 25 hours a week, or part-time hours, and still have a nice. You should work to live, not live to work, and I think that it would enable people to do more hobbies in their spare time and get out and about and be active, and that's what I hope anyway. That's the nice. Obviously, I'm looking at it from the nice positives, whereas there could definitely be a real negative side of things if we're not careful. But definitely a subject we have to proceed with caution in, I think. I mean, it'll be down to society really to decide. It'll be down to society really on the government and to see where we go with it. Really, it's scary to think that we're not that a million miles. I mean, it's not like we're like 15, 20 years away necessarily from this. This is a lot closer than what we actually realise, and I think a lot of people are just so entrenched with their everyday lives that they haven't got time to care too much about it, which is fair enough. But what can you do, even if you do care about it? What can you do to change it? It's nothing you can do, is there? I think it's more just you need to prepare yourself that it's going to happen at some point, and not just be in complete shock when one day you find out this is actually going to a reality now. Killian's in the chat. He's I'm top 60 in the world right now, and I'm second. And in second chance league, I'm 25 points off top. Top 5. Any chance of reaching it? I mean, if that's your ranks, there's a chance. Just do what you've been doing, because it seems that you've been making the right decisions. I mean, if that's your rank right now, and arguably a very difficult season to try and climb rank. That's just incredible. Send you my password and my login details, and you'll go do whatever you want. That's incredible. Yeah. Just don't you worry about just keep doing what you're doing. You seem to be hitting the right transfers. Make me feel good about my rank.
Yeah, I'm like a million places beyond that, but yeah, I'm sure it'll be fine. I've just been unlucky all season, obviously.
Yeah.
But I think there's definitely a debate. Like, I always think that when you're making transfers, sometimes I think there's clear mistakes and then there's like bad outcomes. So just because a transfer didn't go well for you doesn't mean it was a mistake. It just means that you got a negative outcome. And I think that's sometimes where people can get a little bit sort of too upset at the game. Like if I brought in a double game week player, like I said I did for Odegaard, I swapped Anthony for Odegaard, and I was like minus 14 points. But I wouldn't say that necessarily meant it was a bad decision. It was just a bad outcome. Whereas if you get rid of a Haaland this week for, I don't know, Anthony Gordon, for example, like that's a bad decision. Do you know? And you can also make bad decisions that give yourself good outcomes. So I think that's what sometimes I have to look back at the game and think that wasn't a mistake. It was just I was either unfortunate or I was fortunate in the way it went down. I just have to pick the players based on what I believe in.
Yeah. There's a lot of psychological. There's this massive psychological side to FPL, isn't there? There's a logical side, and then you've got the psychological side where it's like second guessing yourself and like looking at your team. What planning and preparation have you done for the last final game weeks? Like, have you done any, or are you just literally taking it at this stage of the season every week as it comes, and you're just like, right, I'm just gonna make some crazy transfers, try and hit a player early, get on them before the points come in, and like, tell me, like, what's your strategy?
Well, it's difficult to say because, again, as I said to you earlier, I've been playing catch up from game week 1. So if you look at my team all through the weeks, it's not like flamboyant, it's not super risky. There's like the odd player here or there, but like I'm still, I guess I would say fairly template man as a couple of players. But I think this season's been difficult because I think Haaland is the main problem, really. Because if you go against Haaland and he bangs, it's so difficult to catch back up with differentials, if that makes sense. But my plan has just been try and play sensibly and try and catch up the normal way with, because I always feel like I've got a good enough knowledge that I can pick the right players, but it just seems like I've been getting like the minor decisions going the wrong way. So I may have brought in Isaac rather than Wilson. I brought in the wrong defender. Like having Dunk instead of Estepinian this season has really cost me. So obviously I brought in Dunk. I've had him for God knows how long. But if I'd have just like committed and gone to Estepinian, you look at the difference in points, it's just ridiculous. Like especially Estepinian this week got 17 points. Dunk's got 6. And the 4 people around me in the league have got Estepinian. So it's just a massive swig. And then, like I say, Rashford being injured, I didn't pull the trigger and left him on the bench. Like, I've had Dallow's been benched for Wan-Bissaka. Like, I could have had Shaw.
What was your thoughts of Rashford? You just hoping that he's fit for the double game week? What was your thoughts with just keeping hold of Rashford?
Well, the problem is it kind of came out of nowhere. Like, I was looking at the team and then, like, a couple of hours later, it changed from to be like 25%, and I was like, that's strange.
Isn't that like normally a warning sign about getting him out? Or
yeah, but the problem is he's got a double game week next week, right?
Yeah, but 25%, man, it's pretty low.
If you look at my team, right?
Yeah,
it's why would I get rid of Rashford for that team? My bench is ridiculous. Grealish, White, and me. Like,
have you got any money in the bank? You've got 0.3, right? So, would you be getting Bruno Fernandes in for Rashford and maybe just downgrading elsewhere to maybe bring in, maybe take out Trippier and bring in Lindelof?
I don't even know if I've got the money for that. Let me have a look.
And you can't do that because you've already got 3 Man United, haven't you?
Well, if I took out Rashford, that would solve that issue, but
no, because you're swapping him for Bruno, aren't you? So you'd still have Anthony. You still have Anthony, Dallo, and Bruno. So you wouldn't be able to get in. So maybe like downgrade somewhere. Like what would you have if you went Rashford to Bruno? What would you have to find 0.7 or 1 million or something?
Put it this way: if I went Rashford to Bruno and I got rid of Trippier, I've got 4 million.
Oh, there you go. So you could get a 4 million, right? So. Who's at 4 million? I don't even know who's at 4 million right now in the game.
That's a good question.
Let's have a quick look. Who's at 4 million in defence?
And he's playing, I guess.
I mean, that's a bit of an ask, in it, to be honest. So you're looking at, oh my god,
there's actually quite a lot of 4 millions. Oh, so do you know what the funny thing is?
Lindelof 4.1. That's annoying, isn't it?
There is actually a 4 million player who's playing, and he plays for the second best team in the league. Here we are for Arsenal. That's interesting.
Yeah. How long's so he's in for Saliba, right?
Season. Yeah, he's out for the season.
Yeah, Kirill. Yeah.
But again, that's for a -4, right? So, I mean, realistically, I probably have to captain Fernandes now.
Well, if you did that, yeah. But again, it depends on what your stock is on Fernandes. I mean, he's not exactly been setting the world alight, is he? To be honest. But if you're telling me that I want to captain someone different and Fernandes is what I want to captain, then yeah, I mean it could be worth doing. But Killian says I've kind of learned patience is the most important thing in the whole game. Also forward thinking. I picked Akanji 3 weeks ago instead of Stones, so I could afford to do Solanke to Wilson captain this game week.
Yeah, I definitely agree on the patience thing, but the problem was with like, I've always found like at the start of the season, I try and set out the first like 10, 11 game weeks and it just never ever goes to plan because people get injured, people get rotated. Like in a perfect world, you can do that. But again, it's like if Akanji had just not been playing, then you're having to rethink everything you've just done. Especially with a defender that plays for Man City, who could easily be benched for 3 game weeks for no reason whatsoever.
Oh my god, guess who's in the chat? Charlie. Charlie's in the chat. How's it going, Charlie? I haven't seen you in here for a while. How's it going, man? Nice to see you, dude. Nice to see you. Yeah. So who have you got left to play this game week? I've just moved off your team.
So I've got Isaac, captain, Incisor, Mitoma, Trippier, Dunk, and then Grealish and White coming off the bench for 2 points. Was it purely funds that made you get in Caesar in? No. I don't know if you've. I mean,
4.6 million.
That's not true, but it was funds. But I've watched the kid play and he's actually really, really good. And I wanted a way into the Brighton attack.
Didn't he go off injured? Or did I dream that?
No, I think he did, but I think it was more of a niggle. Do you know, like a tiredness injury?
Yeah, he played 81 minutes, didn't he?
I think that's like the longest he's played for a long time. So I think it was like a fatigue issue.
Okay.
See, I'm a big fan of Ferguson for Brighton, but the problem is that like Brighton have like 4 strikers, and they're all kind of like in the team and out of the team. So they've got like Welbeck, Ferguson, Undav, and Incisor. But Incisor can kind of play in that like centre attacking mid sort of role. So I feel like he's got a little bit more chance of playing. And at like 4.6 million, if he doesn't play, then it's not a real big loss.
We're talking about differentials this week. What's your thoughts about my superstar differential?
Sorry, I'm just not on the stream. That's all.
Garnacho.
Interesting. See, we were having
Maestro brings it up in the chat. He's like, Garnacho could be an amazing differential on the double. I mean, it's my team is on the screen right now. Garnacho, I think he plays one of those games. So probably the Bournemouth game. I think he does he start in that game?
So I
think he plays both games, but he features in both games. But is he only going to get like 40 minutes across those two games, or is he going to get a 90 minutes and then a 15, 20 minute cameo? That's the. He ain't going to get 180 minutes. I'll be absolutely shell shocked if he gets 180 minutes. He's not going to get 180 minutes.
I'll be shocked if he gets more than 40 minutes.
50 minutes, yeah.
We were talking earlier, right, about Man United assets.
But he can do the damage. He can do the damage in that 50 minutes, though.
He can, but when we're looking at the formation Man United are playing, right, it's like one at the top and then three across, two CDMs and then four with De Gea at the back, right? I
don't like Sancho, Killian. The thing is, I don't like Sancho at the moment. I don't think he's offering anything for United. He's very pedestrian. He's very. He doesn't want to go direct. He's very much a case of. He runs a little bit towards the player and then he stops and then he looks up and he plays it sideways or he plays it back. It's like there's not that confidence. He's not got the confidence that he had at Dortmund. He's very much a shadow of his former self, and until such a point that he changes and he gets his confidence back, I don't think Ten Hag needs to be picking him. Like he's when I see Garnacho play, he's completely fearless. He's just a ball of energy. He wants to just run down the wing and he wants to cut inside and he wants to go in the penalty area and he wants to take on players. I mean, for me, that is. The question is, do you think Ten Hag trusts Sancho to do more of a defensive job, an all-around job than Garnacho? Is Garnacho too much? Is he too top-heavy in attack that he can't do? The midfield role of defending and tracking back. That's the question. And I don't think Sancho offers a great deal more in that department, but maybe that's what Ten Hag thinks when he picks Sancho over him.
For me, I think Sancho is a better all-rounder. And Garnacho do that super sub like.
Yeah, we need super subs, to be fair. We do need super subs.
If I said to you, who would you rather come on for the last 20 minutes, Garnacho or Sancho? Who would you say?
Garnacho.
If you were trying to win a game.
Energy.
Well, I think that's another factor, right? Garnacho is not mature enough to play that full 75 minutes yet. Maybe he's the guy that you bring on when you need some energy, you need some pace.
Mm-hmm.
You look at it and he has done that.
Yeah.
When he's played
he'll come off the bench in both games if he starts on the bench in both games. Like he's not going to stay on the bench. He'll feature in both games. Like you said, 40 minutes, 50 minutes could be his ceiling. But in those 40, 50 minutes, he could get a couple of returns over those two games. You just never know. I mean, both games I see goals in them. So I mean, I'm not saying United are going to go get 2-3 goals. But I think he'll be involved in the goals if United score in the game.
Let's say that like Sancho or Anthony get injured, right, in the first game, for example. Do you think that Garnacho would start, or would they change formation, or put somebody else out there? See, that's my issue. If I felt like either one of those players got injured, that like Garnacho would start, I think I'd be way more likely to go for him. But my issue is that I don't even think he would start if one of those two guys got injured.
What is the Rashford injury? What is it actually?
It says leg, I think, but I'm not sure to what extent.
That could be calf injury. That could be a hamstring. Yeah. That could be it could be so many different things. Like it's so vague. Looking at it now, Rashford leg injury has made Matt Rashford a doubt for the final weeks of the season after he missed out on the win against Wolves. Ten Hag kept his cards close to his chest when commenting on the issue. I can't tell in this moment, he said. I hope he'll be back soon, of course, and he will do everything he can. And we will do everything we can done. The medical staff is working hard on it, but I'm focused on my team. I'm focused. So yeah, so basically, very much. He could be out? Could be out for a while. Like,
that sounds to me like he's out for a while, and they're trying to rush him back. That's the way I would read that. But it's difficult. You never know, because obviously Ten Hag doesn't want to say, and then Rashford shows up in the squad, and you're essentially leaking. Because obviously this is Man United's biggest, 3 games left of the season now?
Yeah.
And Liverpool are now breathing down their necks, so this is when they really can't afford to drop points. Are you fearful about dropping out of the top 4?
There's always a chance, but I think that it would be... I mean... If we lose our next game, then I think it's going to be a bit like squeaky bum situation. But against Bournemouth, I mean, I think it's a way, right? Away we've been awful.
Yeah, that's really
it wouldn't put it past it. Like, it wouldn't surprise me if we struggled. But again, it's like 1-0, Bruno or Garnacho, doing something in that game. In fact, I'm more comfortable about the game against Chelsea, than I am against the game away at Bournemouth. The home game against Chelsea, I'm more comfortable with, because I know that we've got proven record at home of playing well. Away from home, we're shocking. If we draw that game against Bournemouth, then that gives Liverpool that again gives Liverpool that incentive to keep going on a run of wins. I mean, they of course have got. It's not an easy game for them, Aston Villa. I see, but they're flying high at the moment. Liverpool, they're flying high, and if we draw against Bournemouth and Liverpool beat Villa, then I'm going to worry. And then I think, yeah, at that point, I'm worried. And it will come down to the final game of the season. And we're at home, which is good. It's good that we're at home. It's good that we've got 2 home games. We're finishing on 2 home games. If it was the other way around and we were finishing on 2 away games and we had 1 home game, 2 away games, then I'd be like, oh my God. But the fact that we've got those home games gives me that confidence that we can just finish. Because Liverpool got some nice fixtures. They've got some, so they're going to probably take all 9 points, to be honest. But I think we can just about stay above them. That's my honest feeling. But if anyone can bottle it, it's us right now. So
I think my major concern will be the goal difference. Like, it's appalling for Man United, really.
Oh yeah, we've just not been scoring. Yeah, we've been.
I think essentially you and Newcastle are on the same. You're on the same points, but Newcastle have got a better goal difference. I think they could bottle it as well. I really think that 4 spot is up for grabs.
Wow, I mean, Newcastle bottling it. What's Newcastle's fixtures? They've got coming up. They obviously got Brighton, which they're playing. That's not an easy game. Do you think Brighton are going to beat Newcastle?
God, that is such a difficult game to call. It really is.
It is, isn't it? If Brighton beat Newcastle, are they bottling it? Because they've then got, of course, Liverpool got a couple of options, haven't they, to get into the top 4? They've got United and Newcastle. They've got Leicester. Leicester are awful, aren't they?
So the 3 Newcastle fixtures,
Chelsea
right? So
away.
They've got Brighton at home, Leicester at home, Chelsea away. So we would like to say that they get 3 points against Leicester, right?
Yeah.
So,
against Chelsea though, away at Chelsea, that could be a tough one.
All right, so let's
game of the season.
Let's look at it this way, right? If we think that Liverpool are going to win their last 2 games, they're against Southampton and Villa. I think that's right. So they would then be on 71 points, right? So then we've got Man United and Newcastle on 66. Newcastle's goal difference is, Man United's goal difference is much more inferior to Newcastle's. So Liverpool would finish on 70. So Man United would need 5 points from the last 3 games to secure top 4. Same for Newcastle.
It's going to be close, isn't it? It's going to be close.
Like, if Newcastle, let's say Newcastle drop points against Brighton, then it may come down to Chelsea on the last day.
Yeah, last game week. Could be interesting. It could be very interesting for Liverpool fans.
I feel like if anyone's going to drop out, it's going to be Newcastle, but I think it will go to the last day.
Well, it'll be a great stream, won't it? On the final day.
Are you guys going to be streaming on the last day?
Yeah.
Yeah, that'll be a sick one. Because
we can't miss it.
Right?
We can't miss it. Yeah, it's gonna be great. Right.
Yeah, I hope I can tune into that one because I think it'll be really good. Because there'll be the relegation battle and the top 4 race.
You're going to be coming on as a guest, maybe?
Yeah, I'd like to. Like I say, if you guys are on, then
we're probably going to have as many people as we can on the Discord to cover the games because we're not going to be able to watch them all ourselves. So we're going to have people, maybe Karma or someone else, that covers the Villa game and other games that we can get like correspondence on. Maybe we get Dan on. Who knows? But we'll invite. Just remember that if you're watching this back, listening to it back. We'll be trying our very best to get as many people on the Discord to talk with us on the final game week. It's going to be a very busy 4:30 in the afternoon. Yeah. With that said, man, I need to get to sleep. So
yeah, no worries.
It's been a pleasure, dude. Thank you so much for joining me. This little just impromptu stream chatting with the community, and if you're watching this back on the replay, big shout out to Max for joining tonight, and yeah, man, I'll speak to you soon.
Yeah, cool. Thanks for having me on again.
Cheers, guys.
And I'll speak to everyone soon.
Cheers, man. Take care. Speak to you soon.
You too. Bye.
I saw you on the road.